Assalamualaikum and good morning semua. Alright, so today's topic is about business entities and legal requirements in Malaysia. So this topic covers is what do you need to know about the legal issues on starting up in business in Malaysia, and very important is the type of business entities, okay, or the type of business ownerships. So here's the objectives of our lesson today. There's three outcomes. First is to identify and understand the types of businesses entities or the types of business ownership. There are three types of forms of business ownerships, and how do you form a business in Malaysia. And then yang kedua ialah understand the advantages and disadvantages of various types of business entities. So after this, we're going to learn the three types of business entities and what are the pro and cons. These are advantages and advantages of each type of business ownership. And then the third one, we're going to understand legal aspects of business formation. So this is more regarding a little bit of law, but we won't go too deep on that one. All right. In Malaysia, the governing body that facilitates and oversees all the establishment or registration of business in Malaysia is called SSM, or the Companies Commission of Malaysia. Okay, so if you want to register your business, you need to go through to SSM, or to the Companies Commission of Malaysia, to register your business. So after this, we're going to look what will happen if you don't register with SSM. So SSM is a statutory body under the purview of Ministry of Domestic Trades and Cooperative Consumer Affairs. So the ministries will oversee SSM, and they will oversee and govern SSM. And through the SSM Act 2001, the Register of Companies (ROC) and Register of Business (ROB) were merged together under the one management to make it more systematic and efficient. So before 2001, there were different bodies of regulations. There was the Register of Companies and the Register of Business. So for business owner, will make them very difficult to start the business, because there's so many hassles, so many procedures. They need to go to register of companies, and then they need to the register of business to register the company. But then the government decided to merge both into one and become SSM that we know today. So the role of SSM is very simple. Is where you register your business, right? Here comes the important part, okay? Yang akan selalu dalam keluar exam, the type of business entities or the type of form of business ownerships. Okay, so there are three types of business ownership. First one is sole proprietorship, ataupun dalam bahasa is pemilikan tunggal. And then we have partnership ataupun partnership lah. And then we have private limited company, where where kita selalu nampak company yang ada sindiran berhad, tu ialah private limited company. So why sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship ataupun pemilikan tunggal is owned by one person, which is you and your businesses. So for example, you nak start your own kedai mamak ke, ataupun you ada modal, you boleh buka you punya bubble tea shop sendiri, ataupun you nak buka kedai laundry sendiri ke, ataupun kedai runcit. So that is sole proprietorship, means that you are the single owner and you run the business. Okay, in partnership pula ialah kena at least ada 2 to maximum 20 partners. Okay, so the partners can be either your friends or your family members. It cannot be one. So minimum must be 2, maximum is 20. So for example, you're opening up cafe with your classmates. So for example, after you finish the studies, you decided that you and your friends you want to start your own business, which is a cafe. Then so you join up your capitals, you and your friends, 50-50 or 60-40 capitals, and then you can start your business in a type of partnership form. And then we have the third one is private limited company. So private limited company is a separate legal entity, uh, and it has nothing to do with your personal assets ke apa, and but it's only solely for business. So after this, we're going to see the definition for each one, and what is involved in each type of business entities. Okay, for example, for example, for private limited companies like Grab Malaysia is owned by a small startup company and a group of uh, technopreneurs. Right. Okay, so okay, let's go to sole proprietorship. So sole proprietorship is like your uh, you can start your own business for by just register with SSM, just pay for 60 ringgit, and then you can already start your own business. So that's the first pro or the first benefits. And then the second pros about sole proprietorship, you have that is that you have full control about the business because you are the big boss. Okay, you're the owner, so so all the decision is up to you. Okay, and then simple taxes. Okay, means that your profit is your profit is taxed as personal income. Okay, you don't need to do separate filing. So example I put here is that your nasi lemak store, if you owe 50,000, your saving accounts pay for it. And then what are the downside ataupun the cons, disadvantages of sole proprietorship is that you have unlimited liability. So if the business fail, your personal assets, house, car are at risk, mungkin boleh tarik oleh bank. Okay, so if you can't pay, if you have a debt with your business, so you can't pay the banks, and then your house will be taken away, or maybe your cars. So that's your unlimited liability. And then the second one is limited growth because it's hard to get very big loans from investors because you're very small businesses. And then no perpetuity means that your business dies if you retire and get sick or you terlanjur travel. Maksudnya kat sini lah, you pergi menghilangkan diri lah. The next one is partnership. So as I mentioned earlier, partnership involves 2 to maximum 20% in a business. So what are the pros and cons? The first pro is that you have more resources, you have more combined money because you are sharing your capital with your friends or with your partners, and you have more skills and ideas because, for example, you have 5 partners in the business, so you have 5 different heads of ideas that you can think of. You can come up with ideas, and then you have shared responsibility. You can split your the workload for your business evenly, so you will have less stress compared to sole proprietorship. And then the third one is flexible agreements. Okay, so this is where you deal from the start with partners about profit sharing. How much shares that each partners will get. For example, 70-30, or for example, if you invest a lot more than your friend, maybe you will get the bigger share. So that's it. That's you have flexible agreement. And then the cons, you have unlimited liability, same again as the sole proprietorship. Partners are jointly liable for debts. If your partner embezzle fund ataupun disongolakkan duit, you have to pay for that loss. And then conflict of risk, dispute over decision. Okay, so this we already watched last week the movie Founder. We saw that how Ray Kroc had disputes with his partner, the two brothers, about how to run the business, about coming up about new products, especially about the milkshake powder. If you remember the scene, so they were very uh, not agreeable to Ray Kroc's decision to use the milkshake powder in their business. Okay, so that's an example of conflict of risk. And then instability, business can collapse if a partner quits or dies. Same again, you can see lot of examples in the movie The Founder yang kita tengok last week kan. So what will happen if one partner stab you from the back? Okay, you may lost your shares. Okay, the same thing like that happened to the brothers. So example I put here, a partner runs a co-working space, one partner skips town, so the rest must cover the debts. So contoh kat sini lah, macam cakap, you dah buka a business of co-working spaces, and then for example you ada 5 partners, and then one of the partners dah larikan duit of the company. So how? You need to pay for the damages lah. And it's very important when you want to start a partnership type of business. It's advisable for partners to have a partnership agreement in order to avoid minimize dispute between partners. So kat sini bila kita nak start business partner in types of partners business, kita boleh draft a partnership agreement where they can insert certain clauses that if certain thing happen, what will the action be taken. In terms of private limited company atau company Sinar Berhad, the pros and cons are like following lah. First, the pros are limited liability. Your policies are safe. If the company owes 1 million, you only lose what you invested. So kat sini, we can see the differences between the previous two type of business ownership. Contohnya kalau if you in sole proprietorship and partnership, uh, if the company you ada hutang dengan company tu ada hutang dengan bank contohnya. So you kena gadaikan you punya rumah ke ataupun you will lose your business lah. But you also lose money. But for private limited company, your personal assets are safe. Your houses ke, your cars ke is safe. It won't act as a collateral. So you only lose what you invested. Contohnya you dah laburkan duit 1 juta ringgit dalam company tersebut, you only lose that amount of money. So those are one of the benefit of going for a private limited company. And then the second one, you have credibility. Kat sini banks and investors are more confident to give loans to private limited company because they have better records and their data is much more systematic, so it's very easy for them to give out loans to a private limited company. And then your companies will be forever alive. Company lives on even if your member live or die. Okay. So contohlah kalau macam sole proprietorship ni, kalau owner mati, business tu pun habis, lingkup. But private limited company, even if the owners dies, the company still goes on because they have the partners that will still run the business. Okay, and then the cons is costly and complicated. Okay, nak bayar registration fee saja is only 1,000, and then you need to conduct your annual audits, which is you need to do every year, and there's a lot of paperwork required as a report. You need to conduct your AGMs, okay, and then check controls. You just need to need board or director approval. Okay, so even you're the owner in private limited company, you have the above you is your board of directors and chairman. So you need any decisions, you need to get the board of directors approval first before you can make any new investments or decisions. And then tax complexity means that you have more corporate tax and personal dividend tax. Okay, so example I put here a tax and Berhad goes bankrupt. Shareholder lose their 10,000 investment but keep their cars and houses. So maksud kat sini lah, even the business didn't go well, but they still keep their houses and cars. The bank will not take away their houses and cars, but they only lose the 10,000 that they invested. Okay, so here's the table of summary for each type of business ownership or business entities. You can see sole proprietorship, partnership, and private limited company or Sinar Berhad. So liability is unlimited both for partnership and sole proprietorship, but Sinar Berhad is very limited. So you can see here, just baca lah. You can see the distinct differences. Okay, why register your business? As I mentioned earlier, why is it important for you that every business in Malaysia or every company in Malaysia needs to register with SSM? So, first thing is illegal to operate without your SSM registration. Maksudnya you buat business secara ninja saja, macam you menjual di tepi-tepi jalan, okay, bawah kemah tu, because they don't have SSM registration. So you are basically operating illegally in Malaysia. So that's why it's very important for you to register your company with SSM. The second one is to protect your business name. No one can steal your nasi lemak king idea. Contohnya, if you already registered the company's name, so other people cannot take your branding name. So that's why it's very important to register. And then needed for licenses, loans, government support. So if you want to get a loan from banks and you want to get government support in terms of in terms of uh, in terms of seeding fund or anything, the government wants to see your SSM licenses. So that's why it's very important to register your business. So now we move into a little bit on the laws that govern the companies or related to companies. So first we have the Registration of Business Act 1956. So this is for selling your properties and your partnerships. And Companies Act 2016 is for a private limited company or for Sdn Bhd. And the Employment Act 1955 is to how companies should treat their workers in a correct way. And then we have the EPF and SOCSO, which is your saving for your future. So each employees will have the APF and SOCSO. So if you and make sure when you want to start your job or start working, make sure that your employer pays for your EPF and SOCSO. So EPF is for your saving, for your future saving during your retirement. SOCSO is basically like your insurance. So if anything happens to you while working or while while on the way to the office or on the way back home, for example, you were involved in an accident from your home to the office. So and then you are unable to work for 3 to 6 months. So SOCSO will pay you a little bit of money throughout your period. So throughout your recovery period. Okay, now we move on to SME. Okay, kita biasa dengar perkataan SME. SME tu apa SME? SME stands for Small Medium Enterprises, which is the backbone of Malaysia ataupun kat Malaysia ni ialah mostly are small medium businesses. So how do we gauge or how do we uh, apa ni ukur the size of business, which is this business small or is this medium? So we're going to tell that later. So uh, 99 of Malaysian businesses are SMEs, small and medium enterprises. So you can see there's a lot of small cafes, and then we have top brands clothing lines. So those are example of small medium enterprises. And then your example I given here is like your local bakery, graphic design freelancer, or a car wash. So those so it basically is everywhere. You can see everywhere. You just step out from your house. You can see there's a lot of example of small medium enterprises. So what are the challenges? First, they need to face with limited funds. Okay, like you're trying to start a roti china stall with 100 ringgit. So, to start a business, sometimes you need to have a very substantial capital to start. So, but if that's why it's very important to have a very sufficient fund to start your business. Maybe even though you have already, but even though you have uh, an amount to start you may not have any extra money. You mungkin tak ada duit lebih untuk nak buat benda lain dalam bisnes tu. Mungkin you ada 10,000. So 10,000 tu you dah guna untuk buka bisnes. Tapi dah contohnya you nak buka, contoh nak tambah pekerja lain ke ataupun you nak extend bisnes ke, you tak ada duit dah because you have very limited fund. And then the second challenges is that you need to compete with big brands. So contohnya you punya kuih ke, you nak kena lawan dengan Zeus Coffee ke ataupun Secret Recipe ke, so you kena fight with established brands. Okay, so why they are success? Because they create jobs. Okay, so kat sini kita tengok cafe yang kecil-kecil dia memberi peluang kepada pekerjaan ataupun semua butik. Macam I'm sure that most of you ada buat kerja part time, ada kerja yang di butik dekat Tampines Square kan, kedai-kedai kecil sana, dia memberi peluang pekerjaan. And then they drive innovation. So kita tengok kat macam business yang cafe kat luar, dia come up with a new product or something that is new. Contohnya vegan durian cheesecake. So that's an example of innovation. Kita akan sekarang kita akan go to ciri-ciri of SME or SME characteristics. Okay, the first one is small business have to get by with limited resources. Macam saya cerita tadi lah. Okay, if you have 10,000 to start with, that 10,000 lah yang you ada untuk to start your business, and you have very little space to expand ataupun you nak tambah your new staff ke tak, you don't have that extra money to pay for new staff, or you not come up with new product, you don't have that extra money to innovate. And then the second one is to small businesses have often freedom to innovate. Maksudnya kat sini lah, you don't have to report to board directors, to other CEOs, because you are the owner. You are single-handedly handling the business. You can come up with new ideas and implement it immediately. And then the third one is entrepreneurial firms find it easier to make a decision quickly and react to changes in the marketplace, because since you are the single decision makers, so if anything happens or there's any external factors that affect the business, you can adapt very quickly. Contohnya waktu COVID-19, you tak boleh buka kedai physical, so what you can do is that you can start selling online. Okay, because this is an example of how you react and changes to adapt. Malaysia SMEs can be grouped into three categories: micro, small, and medium. Okay, so we're going to see the differences after this, and then this grouping are decided by either the numbers of people, okay, how many staff do you have, or the total sales of revenue generated by a business in a year. So you can categorize it by, first is the how many number of staff you have, and then the income that generated within 1 year. So that's how they categorize whether you are in micro, small, or medium. Okay, ini adalah contoh how do you categorize it as, for micro, small, and medium. For micro, you have less than 5 employees. Okay, and then for small, you have between around 5 to 19, and then in terms of medium type of business, you have between 20 to 50 employees in your business. Okay, so micro, we can say example is a barbershop. Okay, you ada satu kedai barbershop, dan yang potong rambut mungkin dalam 4 orang saja ataupun 3 orang. And then small, you can say that maybe you have your cafe, or small, you have a restaurant, so you employ around 5 to 9 to 10 number of staff. And then medium is between 20 to 50. This is where example is like Khairul Aming lah. Okay, Khairul Aming dia dah ada kilang dekat Kelantan tu, and then dia punya kilang sambal tu dia ada around 50 to 100 of staff. Okay, okay, how do you now kita dah tengok in terms of number of staff, but now we're going to see the categories according to annual sales ataupun the income generated within 1 year. So for micro, that is your income is between 250,000 K or less. But in terms of small, your income per year is between 200 to 1 million. And then for medium, is between 1 million to 5 million. Okay, so you can see the differences of income generated between the micro, small, and medium. So why is it important for small businesses? They are playing a very important role in our economic system. First, they provide jobs and introduce new products. Okay, kita tengoklah banyak-banyak kedai yang tepi-tepi jalan ni dibagi peluang pekerjaan, dan juga di come up with a new product. Okay, contohnya macam Khairul Aming, bila dia baru start dulu, sebelum dia ada kilang, dia cuma jual sama saja, and then dia bagi, and then dia bagi peluang pekerjaan kepada staff-staff yang bila dia buka small warehouse dulu, yang mana untuk keluarkan stok, untuk dia cuma sebelum ada kilang dia ada satu warehouse tu buat dia punya produk tu. And then the second one is they meet the needs of larger organisation and inject considerable amount of money into the economy. So contohnya big companies, walaupun company tu dah syarikat dah besar, tapi dia tak boleh buat semua. So these small companies will support the larger companies in terms of economy. Okay, and then the third one, they take risks that larger companies sometimes avoid and provide specialized goods and services. Okay, so small businesses dia sanggup ambil risk untuk yang company besar tak sanggup buat, right? Okay, now we move to the last final part, which is the foundation of small business growth, or why is it important to grow small businesses, or how they grow is first is through e-commerce, and then we have social media and technological advances, entrepreneurial diversity, and corporate restructuring. So in terms of e-commerce, we have the online platform enabling global reach of sales. So contoh of e-commerce is Shopee, Lazada, TikTok kan. So kat sini lah this platform dia bagi peluang kepada peniaga-peniaga kecil untuk jual barang-barang mereka. Okay, and the social media pun also play a similar role to e-commerce where seller can sell their products to the social media platforms. And then technological advances like innovation enhancing efficiency and productivity. Kat sini lah kita tengok makin lama technological advances they become more innovative and become more efficient in terms of productivity. And then we have entrepreneurial diversity, okay, varied backgrounds fostering innovation and creativity. So when there's so many small business owners coming up, and then we can see that with the rising number of new entrepreneurs, there's a lot of new ideas that come out and the new innovation in terms of products. And then the final one is corporate restructuring, opportunities arising from downsizing and outsizing. So kat sini kita boleh nampak company yang besar pun dah start think small untuk dia nak cuba downsize untuk jimatkan cost and also outsource. Dia menggunakan supplier-supplier daripada luar instead of dia provide benda tu sendiri. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for today. So if you have any question, you can just email me, and then I already uploaded the today's task that you need to do, which is a group tutorial where you need to create a poster. So the instruction I already uploaded on Spectrum. You need to follow the instruction and create a poster, right? So that's it for today. Take care and have a nice day. Bye bye.